Hello everyone, this is Acrylic Crafting again, and today I'm gonna show you how to make a Autumn Art Journal page. Even though fall is almost over, I still finished this and I would like to share with you. I'm just placing a tissue paper on the background. I'm gluing down with gel medium just because it's really true that it's hard to start an art journal or any project in a blank page, at least for me. So that's why I'm using the tissue paper on the background. So I just evening the edges. I'm using my scissors to do that, but you can use your hand, whatever you have and whatever is easier for you. My art journal, it doesn't have like a strong sheets. The paper is very thin, and I resolve that gluing multiple pages together. I'm just spraying a little bit of plain water on the page because I'm gonna use gesso to give it a wash. This gesso is not too thick, but it's also not very thin, so that's why I used water to make it thinner. There is in my craft sheet, and I have multiple distress ink. I'm just stamping it on my craft sheet, and I just gonna spray water, and that's gonna be used to color my leaves. These leaves I cut it out from a Team Hold die set, and it's on the description below. I use my Sizzix machine to cut it out, and I'm using this technique to color it. I learned that with Vicky. I don't know how to say her last name, but I'm really one fan of hers and I really love her art journal. And I cut my leaves out of manila paper because it's a very thick paper and it worked great for that, but you don't have to use that if you don't have manila paper. You can just use normal cardstock and even pattern paper to do that. So I just use like multiple color at once and spray with water, and then put the leaf on top of it and just give it like a move from one side to the other, and there you go. You have like a real looking leaf. It doesn't look very real right now, but later on you see. Now I'm just using distress paint. That's a broken china, and I'm using my baby wipe to spread it out on the page. It's very light right now, so I'm just gonna put a little bit more of paint until I'm pleased with the background. On the bottom I used green, mint green, and it's from another company. It's not distress paint, it's normal acrylic paint, but it worked it out just fine for now because later you see that I changed my mind. Now I'm using this decoupage paper from Martha Stewart, and I'm just drawing a tree trunk, but I made a mistake. I just drawing the white side instead of the pattern side. And that would, if I just kept doing that way, it would give me the wrong direction for the branch. so that's why I draw in the right side this time. And I just cut it out with my scissors, and now I'm just gluing down on the page with my gel medium. And I go over all the items that I'm putting on the page because I wanted to use my big brush markers later on. Now I'm using my distress ink and a few finger dabbers just to brighten out the colors, just using the same colors that I used before, and I'm just going over the leaves and making them a little bit brighter. The list of all the materials that I'm using is in the description below. Some of them is being discontinued, but the ones that I could find a link, I link it down for you. Now that I finished coloring all my leaves, I'm just gonna use this Tim Holtz stamp that it looks almost the same of my leaves, and I'm using Colorblock archival ink to stamp it on my leaves just to give a little bit more of texture and it looks a little bit realistic. It has to be an archival ink just because if you put distress ink on it, once you pass the gel medium on top, you can move the ink. And each stamp looks a lot like the leaves that I have cut it out, and that's why I'm using each one of them for the different leaves. I cut it out these leaves and this Sizzix package and also the icon, and I didn't have a match for the leaves there, so I just decided to use that one. It's not exactly the same, it doesn't even have the same shape, but since I wanted to give a little bit of texture to the leaf, I just didn't mind using that one. I also have in the description a package with finger dabbers. This one I found at Michael's and I used my 50% coupon to get it. It's not very expensive if you do that. But if you don't have the finger dabbers, you can use makeup sponges to blend it out, the colors, and I used to do that before I have my finger dabbers, so it's not really a problem. And I'm just using distress ink, vintage photo, and walnut stain to color my icon. I'm using vintage photo on the bottom and walnut stain on the top of the little icon. I apologize for my camera, it keeps losing focus. Unfortunately, I have no better camera to record my video, so I apologize because of the quality of the video is not the best. So I just assembled the leaves where I wanted to go on the page, but I just realized the green that I used on the bottom, I didn't like it. It was out of place, it didn't match with anything I have on my page, so I just decided to use this orange distress paint, and unfortunately it is discontinued. The company is not doing anymore, but you can use any other kind of color that you like. I just wanted to make sure I have everything like together on the page. It didn't look like everything matches with each other, so that's why I decided to just erase the green with a little bit of orange. And I just used my baby wipe to blend the color, and I just went over the page over and over again until it was pleased with the background. Now I'm just placing my leaves on the page again, just to see where everything will go, and then I'll be later on gluing down with my gel medium. Make sure you have your brush completely dry, because if you have water on it, since distress ink is gonna react with water, you're gonna make the leaves look ugly and the colors will gonna blend all together on your page. Now I'm just placing the icons where I think it's gonna look good, and once I have everything in place, I'm just gonna go ahead and glue them down with my gel medium. For this little squirrel, I couldn't really find one that I was happy with, but I just decided to draw one myself, and I just draw it in a piece of white cardstock. I colored with my Spectrum Noir, but I have no idea how to color stuff, so it's not very pretty looking, but I was happy with the result and I just placed it on my page that way. Now you see me using vintage photo to color these letters, and these letters is from Seven Gypsies. I think they are not making these letters anymore, but I'm sure you can find all the kind of letters in from a different brand. They have like book letters, and I'm just coloring them so everything can get together on the page, if you know what I mean. I apologize because my camera stopped recording and I missed a few words that I placed on the page. I'm using a T ruler there just to place my quote, and the big letters is not glued down yet. I'm just using them as a reference for the small ones, where the small ones would go on the page, and that's my quote. Autumn is a second spring when every leaf is a flower. And you see that I misspelled the flower, the word flower. I just lost my W, and I was not supposed to glue it down until I find it, but I just forgot and I glued it down. I'm using my pencil just to make a line there, so I don't have to use the T ruler anymore and just glue it my letters down. But don't do it like me. I just pressed the pencil too hard and it was hard to take it out of the page later. So I just cut it a little piece of eraser, and I'm trying to erase that lines that I was talking about that I draw with my pencil, and I just realized they were really hard to take it out. I apologize for my head on the way, but with a baby wipe I just did the trick and I could erase the lines there. Now I'm gonna use my big brush marker just to put a little bit of dimension and a little bit more of color and bring all the page together. I'm using Caput Morton, I think that's how you pronounce that name. It's also in the description below. Even though I have the whole box of big brush markers there, I didn't use really any of those, just the Caput Morton. You can see I'm just giving like the letters a little bit of depth, and I'm gonna do the same thing on the page. I just realized that my word flower, I didn't put gel medium on top of it, and at this point I didn't realize I'm missing the W still. How you just saw, I just tried to cover the letter with my big brush marker, and since it doesn't have a gel medium on top, it's not non-porous surface, it just stay there. I couldn't match the color, so I just put a gel medium on top of it and I just let it set. You have to let it dry, because if you use your big brush marker or any other marker on top of it, that's glue and it's gonna ruin your marker. So just let it dry for a while. Why it's drying, I'm just using my big brush markers in another places on the page, just giving a little bit more of dimension to my acorn and my little squirrel and the branch and the leaves. And at this point I just realized that I made a mistake, that I glued my letters down with my W missing, and later on I was just gonna fix it. Now I'm taking out the R and the E, and I almost ruined my whole project, but at the end it worked out just fine. I have just had to make a little bit of space to my W there, and I glue it down with my gel medium, and I cover up with gel medium so I can use my big brush markers later on. I put just a little bit of weight there so it can hold the letters down while it dries, and I'm using my big brush markers again in the other side of the page. I'm using my gel pen just to put a little bit of white highlights on my black letters, and I'm not gonna use my gel pen on the big letters and also in the leaves, because I'm gonna use gesso to do that. I'm just gonna put highlights on the acorn. And I should put the white splashes before I placed my letters down, but I didn't think I would do that. You just start realizing what you can add on your page, and then you keep doing and going and going, and that's what I did. So I just put a little bit of gesso there. I spray with water, just mix it up with a small brush and cover my letters so I don't have white splashes on it. And I just started like using my another, like you can use a pen. That one was my crochet needle, and I'm just splashing gesso with water on my page. And you don't have to do that if you don't like it, but I wanted to bring everything together with the white and the letters, and that's why I did. So it's pretty much it. That's how I finished my art journal page. But you can add anything you want. Art journal is very personal, and you can do whatever you like. So you can see the close-up end of the video. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for visiting my channel. Please give me a thumbs up, share my video if you like it, and I see you next time. Bye.